Okay, we are going to do an intro to editing today. You've plugged in your hard drive, you've turned on your computer. Those are the great first steps we've got going here. Once you're at your home screen, you're going to go to your File Explorer. When I say File Explorer, I mean this little guy that looks like a file folder. It also is named File Explorer. You're going to click the File Explorer, and that's going to bring up your File Explorer. Shocking. Okay, then you have your hard drive on here. It should have popped up by now. Your computer should have went dun, 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 and we should be in business. So we're going to click on our hard drive. We're going to open it. In your hard drive, I want you to make a folder called Film 275 if you haven't already. You're going to make your folder, and we're going to click into that. In this folder, we're going to make another folder. So we're going to right click anywhere on this white screen. We're going to click new, and we're going to click folder. And here we're going to name it the name of our project folder, which is our project we're doing today with this, which is our visual poem. And then inside of this folder, we're going to make new folders. It's so exciting. Okay, new folder. We're going to name the first one. I want you to name it like this every time you make a project. Every time you make a project, it will be the same 5-ish folders. The first one is going to be footage.
Second folder is going to be project file. Third folder is called assets. Fourth folder, audio. And your final folder is going to be labeled versions. Okay.
This is my expectation for when you start a project, is you're going to start with these folders. The first part of editing is making these folders, and so we need to grab our assets to put into it. And when I talk about assets, I'm talking about our video footage, I'm talking about music, I'm talking about any photos we're using, anything like that, our audio, our voice recordings, they all go into these separate folders. Okay, so I'm going to use some of the footage I already have on my hard drive. So I need to transfer it from my hard drive to these proper folders. And the way I like to do that is to grab another File Explorer window by right-clicking on here and clicking File Explorer. I'm going to drag this window over here. So I have two windows. And then on my hard drive, I'm going to grab the footage I want to use, and I'm going to place it into my footage folder. And so you would just select all. You can do Control All, or you can do what I just did and drag them over to your footage folder. Beautiful. So they're over there. The rest of my assets are on Box. And so I'm going to go down to my web browser. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to type in, hold on with me, Earlham Box. I'm going to log in. Boom, now we're in Box. We're going to go to our Video Production 227 folder. And this is where you want to download any assets that you don't already have on your hard drive. So say that you needed your voiceover. You're going to go into your voiceover folder, you're into your audio folder, and you're going to grab the one that is your perfect voiceover that we recorded in the last class. And you're going to click on the three dots here, and you're going to download. If you need your footage, you're going to go to your footage, and you can download them one by one, like I just said. Or if you want to download the whole collection, you can go up to this More Options button up here and download the whole folder. Okay, we also want to add music to our project. And so we're going to go to this handy folder called Class Assets. And in here is a music folder with several different options of music. And you're going to grab the one you want, and you're going to download it. Okay, so these things are now downloading to the computer. And you might be saying, Kate, why did I need a hard drive? I can just edit off of the computer. Well, the answer to that is no, because lots of classes use these computers, right? It's a computer lab. We've got all sorts of things going on in here. And oftentimes the IT staff will come and clear it out. And so if you store anything on these, you run the very high risk that when you come back the next class, you're not going to have it. And we want to make sure to always have our stuff. For projects like this that you can get done in a class sitting, it's not a huge deal. But when you've had a project that you've worked for literally weeks on, and you lose it the day before it's due, that's when it becomes a pretty big deal. So we're always going to store everything on our hard drive. And so we want to make sure that all of our things get transferred to the right place. So I just downloaded them from the internet. So I know they're going to be my downloads file. I'm going to grab my music and I'm going to put it in my assets folder. And I'm going to grab my voiceover. Actually, it's Symboli's voiceover. I'm going to use that as an example. And I'm going to pop it in our audio folder here. Okay, so we've got our footage loaded in, we've got our audio, and we've got our assets. Now we actually get to open our editing software. I'm going to close those down and we're going to double click on the Adobe Creative Cloud. That's going to pop up with this. You're going to enter your Earlham ID. If you didn't know your Earlham ID and username before this class, you certainly will after this class. And we're going to just scroll up here and we're going to double click on Premiere Pro. It might pop up with this like user account control thing that says allow this app to make changes to your device. You're just going to X out of that. We don't need that right now. The very first thing we're going to do for every new project is click the new project button. And that's going to bring us to this screen. Don't get too caught up in all these files. We don't need anything from here. The only thing that we're going to do is name our project. And we're going to name our project with our naming conventions that we always use in this class, which is going to be the project name, visual poem, and then underscore your last name. And then we need to store our project not on the desktop, right? Because we don't want it to get lost. So we're going to click this little arrow down and we're going to choose our location. We're going to go to our hard drive. We're going to go to our project file. And we're going to pop it in the project file folder. And then we're going to select our folder. Makes sense, right? We're putting our project file in our project file folder. Very organized. And then we're going to hit our create button. And boom, we're inside. Exciting. Okay, there's a couple of different windows. It doesn't look too exciting. It's all grayed out right now, but we're going to change that. It's going to be exciting. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways to make this look like it should. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go down here and we're going to click this little new bin box. You can click it here. You can right click and hit new bin, whatever suits your fancy. And we're going to write sequences in this bin. Then we're going to import our footage. Now we can do this a couple of different ways. We can double click here and that's going to bring up this file finder and you can go to your hard drive and then go to your folders and then click your footage and then just open the whole folder in here. Then we would select all of our footage and open it up. Okay, so that's one way to do it. But we've already done all this work. We've already done it before. So why would we do it again? So I'm just going to delete our bin here and I'm going to go and bring up our file explorer right here. Now, we already did all of our work. We already organized our folders. So I'm just going to hold down Control and select our audio, assets, and footage. And I'm just going to drag and drop them into my project bin right here. Boom, we have everything we need. That's so exciting. You're always going to want these 4 folders. And here you want your assets, your audio, your footage, and your sequence. Okay, now we need to make a timeline. So when I'm talking about timeline, that's going to be the piece that we're actually editing in. We're editing in our timeline. This is our project bin. This is our preview window, and this is our source window. There's a couple of different ways to make a sequence. One of them is just to go to a clip of footage and pull it in. And you can do that, but this is going to make a 4K sequence. And so when you export it, it's going to be a 4K file, which is going to be really big. And if we want to do some of the funky things we want to do later in this class, that's not how we're going to do it. So we're going to do one other step before we do this. I'm going to get rid of this sequence. You always want your sequence in your sequence folder. So put it in there. We're going to actually go to our sequence folder. We're going to click on this little page, this new item page, and we're going to click sequence. Then we're going to select this HD 1080p, the one with the 23.976. And we're going to name it as we name everything. Visual, my goodness, can't I spell today? Poem, yarn. And then I'm going to hit OK. And that's going to make things substantially different. We're going to have our timeline. If you want to preview a clip before you put it in your timeline, you can just double click it and it pops up here. You can scroll through it if you want to see the clip in full before putting in the timeline. When you want to put a clip, when you find one that you like and want to put it in your timeline, there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can simply drag it from this area onto your timeline. We're going to keep our settings here. Don't hit change settings. We want to keep our settings. Or you can drag and drop it from up here. Or you can, if you say, like, I'm looking at this clip and really I just want this part of the clip, I'm going to mark an end spot using this mark in. And that's basically like pre-editing the video for me. I'm gonna mark in and I'm going to play it until I get to the part that I want it to cut. And I'm going to do this mark out. You can use the keyboard shortcuts if you want at this point and mark out. And that's just going to take that part with me. Okay, so as you can see, we're pretty zoomed in. This doesn't look like this. So there's a step you need to take to make your footage not cropped in like this. And you're going to click on your piece of footage here. And to do that, you're going to scale to frame size, and that's going to pop it out. There's a reason for this that we're going to talk about the next time we do an editing lab. But for now, just trust me that it's important. We're going to click on our audio, and we're going to drag in our audio to this part down here. Now we can see in our timeline, it's split into two sections. The top section is for our video and our bottom section is for audio. Okay, so we've got our voiceover down here, so we know approximately how much footage we need in here, right? For this project, remember it needs to be between 30 and 60 seconds. So we're gonna go back to our footage file over here, and we're gonna just start layering in some clips that you think will be good. So I want this to be a little bit more towards the end, so I'm just clicking and dragging and dropping. Say I just wanted the video and not the audio portion of this, I could click this little icon here and just drag video or just drag audio. Okay, so I got him in there. I need to resize him, scale the frame size, beautiful. Maybe I want this clip of a butterfly in here. As I'm editing this, I'm doing most of my editing up here, but there are more ways to do it. So if I wanted to adjust this butterfly clip to be a little bit longer, say that's what I wanted, I could just hover over the edge until it turned this red icon here, and then I can adjust how long or short the clip is using just by pulling the edge in and out. If I wanted to cut this clip, I could go over to my razor tool over here. This selection tool and the razor tool are the tools you'll use most often, and they have the little keyboard shortcut right next to them. So to get to the razor tool, you press C on the keyboard, and then the selection tool is V. So if I wanted to make a cut, I could select my razor tool, make a cut, switch over to my selection tool, click it, and then if I want to delete it, I could hit the delete button or the backspace button. I think I've got the clips I want in there. I might need to extend a couple of them just to make sure that I have enough space. Okay, so I've got my voiceover in here. I've got my clips in here. Now, when I play this, I notice that I can't really hear the voiceover because my natural sound, the sound that's with my clips, is overwhelming. So I'm going to mute this whole track, and to mute this whole track, I click the M button here. and that's going to mute this whole section. Now I want this audio a little bit turned up, and I can do that in a couple of different ways. My voiceover, I want to turn it up, and so to do that, I'm going to open up the track. So each of these are extendable by hovering over the lines that separate them and pulling up on them. And so I could do that with any track I want, but the track I want to do that is our voiceover track. So I'm going to click between the two, and I'm going to open it up. Okay, so to adjust the volume, you can do it with this line right here. And so theoretically, I could pull it all the way up to here,
If the world was run,
which is fine. But I want to control my volume in a couple of different ways. So I have a little bit more flexibility. And so the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to right click on here and I'm going to go to audio gain, which remember, we can't actually adjust our audio gain after the fact that we've moved it. So Adobe is kind of labeling it just to have words, not really saying like we're going to adjust the input of our sound, because as we know, we can't actually adjust that after it's come in. We're really just adjusting volume here, but this way we have a little bit more flexibility. It's actually going to adjust the audio waves here. This is just a personal preference. You can super do it with just the line, but I like to do it this way just to keep things tidy. Gonna click OK, and my audio lines are going to go up a bit.
the people who had power
Perfect. I am going to pop it up just a little bit
were
more.
the kind who understood sadness.
Perfect.
What a wonder.
Okay. And so you might have seen me, I did this, but just in case you missed it, I went ahead and shortened this so that my video starts and I shortened it so the video starts where the audio waves start. So
What a wonder it would be.
starts off right there. Okay, next
If the world
I need to extend a couple of these clips to match the length of my video. Okay, great. So now we're looking pretty good here. And now I want to add some audio. So I go back to my project file. I'm going to go to my assets and I'm going to drag in my music into this third audio line here. Now our music is pretty long and you can pick which section you want. You could even go up, bring it up into your preview window and click and listen to the song and then select your in and outs here, just like we did for your footage. But I'm just going to click the razor key, cut it off, and then get rid of it. Okay, so I'm kind of done needing this track as big as it is. So I'm gonna squish that one up and I'm gonna pull our music track down. And you can refer to them as, they all have names. So this one is audio 3. Okay, so when I play it, if I keep it like that, we're really drowning out our voiceover. So I need to move down our volume to a place where it's not competing for the voice, right? We want to be able to hear our audio.
if the world was run by
So it's a little bit hot right now, a little bit down.
kindness, if the people who had power
Perfect. We want it to complement our voiceover, but not take away from it. Okay, now I'm thinking I want to do something where it starts on black and then our music starts, but our voiceover and our footage hasn't started yet. So I'm going to grab this little tool and click at the start, and this is going to move my all of my footage, everything down just to the place that I want it. I'm going to grab my music and I'm going to pull it forward a little bit and then extend it on the end. And I'm going to click here. Now, if I play it,
what a wonder it would be.
that sounds okay, but I really kind of want it to swell before my voiceover comes. So I want it to start off louder and then go quiet as the voiceover. So to do this, I'm going to add a couple of keyframes. When I say that, this is what I mean. This little round diamond shape is a keyframe marker. And a keyframe is just marking a place and time, marking a value of any sort. Could be a volume value, could be a location value, a position value, that sort of thing. So I'm going to make sure I have my track selected, and I'm going to make sure my bar is further enough down that this appears in the window, and I'm going to add a keyframe, and that's going to mark the position and time. The position at that time is that volume. And if I move my playhead, this is called the playhead, you can add another keyframe, and then I'm going to adjust this one to be higher, and this one is lower. So then when I play it, it's going to go from being louder to being quieter. And I want it to just like dip under the voices we have here.
What a wonder you would
Perfect.
be.
Great. Perfect. Okay. And then I don't want the music to end abruptly. I want it to kind of fade out. Instead of keyframing that, I can just click on the end. I'm going to wait till I see these red bars appear. I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to apply my default transition. And that's going to fade out my music. I can add those to the top here as well to do a fade
What a
in
wonder.
and a fade out. Now be cautious here, because when you add it to a clip that has audio with it, it's going to ignore that box real quick. We don't need the essential sound. It's going to add a dissolve to the bottom and a dissolve to the top. So if I wanted to get rid of the one on the bottom, all I would need to do is click that until it's highlighted, and then I'm just going to click backspace. It'll get rid of it. I can also determine how quick or slow our dissolve is by hovering over the end of it and dragging it to where I want it to be. Okay. Okay. So for your project, you need to make sure that you have your clips on one timeline, in one timeline, but on one track. You need music, and you need your voiceover, and the music and the voiceover need not to compete with each other. So the music needs to be adjusted so that the voiceover comes through really clear. Once you've done all those things, you're going to select your timeline box, and you know when it's selected by it glowing in this blue, being outlined in blue. And then you're going to go up here to this export button. You're going to click export, and we've already named our file, so everything's good there. And we just need to click our location. So we're going to go to we don't want to save it to the computer, right? Nothing ever gets saved to the computer. We're going to go to our hard drive, navigate to our folder, and then we're going to click on versions. And you're going to save it to the versions, and then you're going to click export. Great. As that's going, I want you to navigate to your box folder. So whatever has your name, and inside of there's the visual poem. And then I want you to make a folder, and you can do that by clicking new folder that says versions. And you're going to go into that and make that folder. And then you're here. Our project has been exported, and you just need to upload it to Box. So you can click new and then file upload, or what I would do is just click on your file explorer, go to your hard drive, versions, and then you're going to drag and drop it into this folder. Boom, it's going to upload. You're going to click on the shared link. You're going to copy this link, and then in the visual poem homework assignment in Moodle, you're going to drop this link in there. Make sure everything is named correctly, or else you'll get a point deduction. And then we need to just clean up a little bit. So we're going to go back to our timeline, and we're going to save everything, and we can exit out of that. We need to go to our downloads. If we downloaded anything, and we need to select them and then right click and click delete. That way it's not anybody else's problem but ours. And then we need to eject our hard drive. So you're going to go down to this little arrow. You're going to click on the little thumb drive here, and you're going to click that and eject your hard drive. That's it for the first Premiere Pro tutorial. Good luck editing. Have a good time. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.